That's kind of hard. Let's bring the mix down. This is. That's kind of hard.
If you want Super HD, go to his channel and go watch it. Mine is dropping gems.
Oh, this one. That sounds hard. So that preset just sounded like this. So even just by hitting that randomize, we've got a really unique sound. Bring up the drive. Turn the effects on too. Then I think with these ones, I'm just going to filter them a bit. That's a hard preset though. That sounded crazy. I think it needs something in the low end. What if we just pitch these keys down? So these four sound sick together. And by the way, if you want to check out Freak 2, I've left a link in the description because the video is sponsored by the man himself, Des Wright. I love when actual producers release plugins because you know someone like Des is going to focus so much on the quality. It took him like 2 years to make this and I can really see why, so I think you'll love it. Okay, at this point, when things are sounding a bit full, I like to flip the melody and then most likely build on that as well. So let's render the master. I say this a lot, but you can really create some unique textures by rendering your MIDI to audio. For example, we could try and stretch this.
Select and upload your audio file.
Pitch it up. See what it sounds like reversed. That's hard too. I think I prefer it normal this time though. Let's copy this. This one, I'm going to pitch it up another octave. Maybe we could reverse the high octave one. With this one, we're just going to filter it. And then maybe add some reverb too. Sounds mad. Then let's throw on some shaper box. That's kind of hard. Let's bring the mix down. This is calling for a sub bass, man. I think we've got to use Freak 2 again because I know there's going to be some fire bass in here. I'm thinking we jump to the mini Moog big bass. It sounds like it's going to be perfect. Let's turn the arpeggiator off though. I like it, but let's try some others. This one's hard. Good run with this. Let's turn the drive up though. There we go. What does it sound like with the effects on? That's even crazier. Let's see what effects we're even running there. There's some delay, so I might turn that off. And then with the reverb, I don't even mind the reverb. This place is crazy. Then we'll throw on some decapitator. I'm just gonna add some half. Then we'll throw on some decapitator.
Ever seen a plugin do exactly what it says it's going to do? Decapitator. Okay, like that's like dark for the tone. Okay, it has dark and bright. Cool drive knob. Sound toys. Should probably get this.
I'm just gonna add some halftime to the main melody too. And this will just.
You know, it's been like over a year since I produced, and then within that short time, sounds have changed all over the world. So, what happens when I'm trying to make a beat now? Like, when I start, what I have in my head, it's not like what I have available to me. Forget like know-how. If you watch my lives, it's like I suck and shit now. It wasn't like that before. I would make off of the top of my head, it would sound cool. I would mix to make sense even if I don't master. But now I'm like total shit because sounds have changed. and this is the new wave apparently. So I'm trying to like catch up and like get fresh on my knowledge. Shout out J Cactus. When I was 15, I sent him an email about how hard like one of his tutorials was and how inspired I was to make beats and all of that. He told me to stay consistent, that if I'm starting out at 15, how good am I gonna get when I'm 25? I'm 20 now, and yeah, there's a long way to go. He didn't say, "Whoa, imagine how good you're gonna be in like a couple of months." He was very realistic and gave me 10 years, and I'm trying my best. Life has been like an up and down and stuff like that, so my joy being music, can't even really like concentrate on it because I need to make money too and stuff like that. But I've become more mature with regards to that, so I'm not going to ditch my joys, my passion, just because I'm chasing paper, stupid currency, banknotes, give to Caesar. Anyway, shout out J Cactus, thank you for that, and I keep following your beats, even though like your tutorials and listening to your beats keep inspiring me, man. I've seen like your setup, your studio setup change a lot over the years. Always adding something new. Now man's got like was it Michelangelo or Da Vinci that painted that? I had that painting of like Adam trying to reach out to God, man. That's some dope shit. Love, man, love.
Then we'll throw on some Decapitator. I'm just gonna add some halftime to the main melody too. And this will just give it that low end I was looking for.
I just had an idea, like what he was doing with the halftime mix. Like you link this to automation. Oh, I mean, you link this to automation, and then like you make the clip like, you know, just shit like that.
Halftime. I'm just gonna add some halftime to the main melody too. And this will just give it that low end I was looking for. Alright, so now it's sounding nice and full. I was about to add drums, but now I'm just hearing a fast start just to include in a couple moments. Maybe this one. Then that'll work. That's only going to come in some parts where I'm building up some tension.
You know, like he's making his melodies organically. That's so cool. I'm just interested in how he's going to add up his drums and make all of this clean. Like for instance, the bass feels really full in my headphones, and one of my issues is like, okay, is he going to like EQ the bass to create room for 808s? Is he going to use 808s at all? How is the kick going to sit and all of that? Like, I'm about to pick up some gems. I hope the stream is gonna like happen. Let me just cross check. It's not working. It's not working. That's a video, by the way. I'll have to the link again. If the video is live. It's not showing in OBS. That's a video, by the way. I'll have to the link again. If the video is live. It's not showing in OBS. Okay, watching myself is a bit cringe. Never mind. Anyway, let's just go. It's working, but OBS says. Never mind.
So like you've seen, the melodies are pretty simple, but it doesn't mean the basic. We're experimenting with different sounds and effects and processing, and we're just creating something unique because let me show you what it would sound like with a basic preset.
Hey creators, want to make pro videos without filming or editing? Meet Kivix. an AI video tool that turns your ideas into
See what I'm saying? There's nothing really to it. Okay, for the drums, we're gonna go to my Pyroverse trap bundle. It's an effect. Maybe this one. I think that'll work. And that's only going to come in some parts where I'm building up some tension. So like you've seen, the melodies are pretty simple, but it doesn't mean the basic. We're experimenting with different sounds and effects and processing, and we're just creating something unique because let me show you what it would sound like with...
You know, he mentioned something just now. It was like tension, like the part of the beat where he's trying to build tension. That's where you add the fast arp. The fuck is tension, man? And when do you need to add it?
a basic preset. See what I'm saying? There's nothing really to it. Okay, for the drums, we're going to go to my Pyroverse trap bundle. And these type of beats just have a really hard-hitting, crunchy snare. Go for something like this wild one. There we go. Just going to keep this pattern simple. Okay, let's grab a hat and we'll fill each two-step. Yeah, even that first one. Let's actually speed this up a bit. Let's go like 138. And honestly, with the drums, you can keep these simple too. If you want to learn how to make crazy drum patterns, then watch some of my other trap tutorials. But with this one, we're just thinking about Drake style. Let's copy that. Yeah, let's go with this hat instead. Look how simple the pattern is. The 8 weights. Let's go for something kind of long. Actually, there's one in the Sacred Trap Suite that might work, called Goliath.
He has a trap drum kit. Whoa.
This one, we could add a few slide notes. If you want a more impact,
I was breathing the entire time. Oh.
if you want a more impact, we could sidechain the kick to the 8 weight. It's not something I do all the time, but sometimes I like that pulsing effect it gives. Alright, from here we could add some open hats.
You're not to date, I don't really know how to use limiter, never mind.
Just want something kind of simple. This one. And let's take this reverse one too. I like to set it to cut itself. With the reverse one, I like to have it leading into a snare or on top of a kick. So like here, for example, because we set it to cut itself, we can bring the velocity of this one down. Now this one will play, and as soon as it gets to the snare, it will cut so they don't overlap.
My method is to change the envelope settings as you would on an 808. So if you dragged the tiny, well, you can see my mouse cursor, if you drag this one just all the way up here, because it's changed the envelope, automatically FL Studio will cut it over there. Sometimes when you use the tiny notes in your piano roll, like if you're like me who likes to like copy over, or you might have some issues, like maybe you're like trying to place, I wish my mouse was bigger. Let's say you're trying to place the open hat here, you want it to end right before like the next bar begins. If you place the short note over here, whilst you're still making the beat, it will like continue playing because it's like on the beginning of a new bar, like it would extend, some shit like that. So I prefer to use the envelope. But who knows, maybe, I mean, like AI, like FL will be using like some AI shit to like cut it. Maybe if you use the velocity settings, it will actually cut sharper. I don't know, man. Anyway, both of them work.
Yeah, just use that one. Maybe right at the end. And then with the other one, I'm just gonna layer the first two kicks. Same again here. Might just add one more snare at the end, you know. And honestly, with the drums, you don't even need more than that. With Drake beats, it's all about space. But we can keep it interesting with the arrangement. I think we could just start with the drums straight away, you know. Sometimes starting with the drums is a good way to instantly create energy. So I think as soon as you heard this, you'd be locked in. Yeah, this beat sounded crazy. Let's copy this over. Let's switch up the 808. Pitch this up an octave. Yeah, might be all it needs. Same again here. Let's cut the drums as well. Then when it gets to this part, we can have the sub bass come in. So we'll have another section like this. The same thing with this bass. The first half we can have that down.
So he answered my earlier question. He did not bring the sub bass, or he did not use the sub bass together with the kick and then the utility, because yeah, like it sounds full and then they would be clashing. That's cool.
Something like this. And then bring this up.
My work is easy because I use ClickUp. Here's how I keep track of all my tasks. I start by brain dumping everything I need to get done in a list view. Next, I set a priority.
What we could try is making this one unique, pitching this up an octave. Sounds bad.
Take note of the changes he's making. For the first melody, it was in like the mid C range, and then because he added the sub bass, it was like the melodies be clashing, so he sent the pitch an octave.
What we could try is making this one unique, pitching this up an octave.
For the second half, so that he would create variation from the first. That's mad creative, man.
Sounds bad. And then just to separate that, I'm going to add some reverb to the high octave one.
I'm enjoying this. I'm not really sure if you guys can actually hear what I'm hearing. Nobody should tell me my Wi-Fi is slow. I'm not paying for it. I think I heard a song today, Kanse Do Road, is it something The Bag, and then it was produced by J Cactus. Maybe we'll listen to it like after. Like 6-7 is just filling up my feed. Tell me my Wi-Fi is slow. I'm not paying for it. What's note over here? Whilst you're still making the beat.
Same again here.
At least you can hear what I'm hearing.
Just so we have this real like spacious, dramatic section. But this time around, we'll copy that again. And in this section, we'll bring that high octave part whilst the drums are playing, just for a little switch up. So not a typical arrangement, but I was just imagining this section giving Drake even more space, and it's just building up a lot of tension before the drums come in again. Yeah, let's have a listen from the beginning. Yeah, I
think there are some Drake songs. I don't listen to Drake often, but I think there's some songs of his that also start off with a drum. Or I may have heard Drake type beats that also start off with the drums, and that's kind of sick. Like, don't start with all the drums, but it gives you like an idea of, like, if you rap and you start to listen to a beat that starts off with the drums, you can start to imagine the flow that you would need to put on it. So that's actually cool, very, very dope. Like as you said, it adds different kind of energy. You don't think it sounds, it sounds.
Drums come in again. Yeah, let's have a listen from the beginning. Yeah, I think it sounds hard with the drum straight away.
It is hard. It is hard. You know, like he be adding like a lot of work on the video edits. Like you're just bumping along. Like with every kick, there's a glow and then what is it called? A bounce effect on the video. Like, you know what I always do? It is lit. This is literally like some soca type shit. R.I.P. soca, man. R.I.P. This is some soca type shit.
Crazy. So now we've got this high octave part.
Exactly, soca. Much respect, man. Much respect. I remember when he did what was that, 2019 or 2020 or 2020, he made a video. It was like how like a soca beat would sound like. It was like soca is a massive producer from France. I think I remember the intro, like mad sounds. He did some word that he held the nigga. I think soca passed 2021 or 22. 23. RIP, man.
So now we've got this high octave part. But this would go insane live. Now we've got the sub bass. I could hear Drake all over this, man. Now we've got the high octave again. So I hope you guys are feeling this. If you want to check out Free 2, the link's in the description. Huge shout out to Des Right. Or for more videos just like it, just click up here.
Is it just me or does man look like Eminem in this pic? I'm on a mission to help music producers level up their drill, trap, and hip hop beats. Yeah, man. You're trying a lot. It's me that is not like doing my best. It's me. I keep going up, coming down, and it sucks. How do I even get my live chat or whatever? I think those 3 views are me. I don't know, man. Leave me the fuck alone. I'm posting the link again several times. Okay. Should I watch another one? Let's go to his channel. Man has been feeding the producer streets since how long? I don't know, man. I started following him in 2020. Should I do drill next? It's a 1-hour masterclass. Or should I focus on trap? I think I suck at trap now. This video is from 1 year ago. Job drum secret sauce. Actually, my drums suck now. Let me watch this one. You guys go watch like his other videos.
Yo, what's good, people?
Like, I'm not doing this to like eat off of clout. I actually have like some notes. I'm taking notes, and then when I started watching this video, I realized that he was going way too hard. And then, like, I mean, the video is edited, of course, but you can actually feel him thinking about every single next step whilst he's making. So it got me thinking, bro. If any of y'all that like this video appears to, if any of y'all like, this shit is interesting. This shit is interesting. Can I take a? Nah, later. And it's AGB and Coach the Ghost. I know it's like a. What was I trying to say? Oh yeah, I'm not trying to eat off of cloud. I'm actually trying to pay respect because how far I've come in my producer journey is because of his free tutorials. But I'm lagging behind, and there's a I don't know if many people say it around my place, but they're like, honor your masters or honor your roots whenever like you're on a journey. If I feel blocked, it's probably because I'm not honoring those who brought me where I am. So I am honoring them now. Anyway, shout out, y'all go like sub, turn on your bells and shit. As you can see, my bells are on.
Yo, what's good, people? It's Jay Cactus, and in this video, I'm gonna give you the ultimate drill tutorial. I made one a couple years back, and it's my highest viewed video right now. And at the time,
Yeah, I'm gonna watch that later. Oh wait, he made the 2 videos on the same day. Wow.
it's Jay Cactus, and welcome to the ultimate FL Studio drum tutorial. If you're a producer, you'll know how important it is to master drum programming. So in this video, I'm going to teach you everything I know about trap drums, including sound selection, hi-hats, snares, kicks, 808s, percussion, and mixing. So by the end of the video, you should have a sick understanding of how to approach your drums for trap beats. Plus, to show some love back for all your support, I just dropped a brand new free loop kit called Inferno, which features 10 dark trap loops with stems, all crafted by me. So feel free to download the kit using the link in the description and follow along because it's one of the best ways you can learn. And let's get straight into it. Alright, so we're inside FL Studio, and I just want to quickly show you the Inferno trap loop kit, which is free to download. This first one might be my favorite. This one's hard too. This one would be a good one to use today for the tutorial. So yeah, you can't go wrong with any of these, man. This one's insane.
Sucks on Travis Scott. This one is like some eject is like some Lucifer type loop.
So yeah, you're hearing the quality
Actually, my mind is stressed.
of these.
Density is a tool to record your DJ set and master it after. Density connects to DJ Deck.
And it's just free to download, the link in the description. I think this is the one I want to use. This one's going to give me enough space to show you exactly what we could do with drums. So we'll drag this in. We'll just match the project BPM, which is 156. And I'm just going to separate the stems real quick. Alright, so I've split everything out. It's just the same way I had the loop arranged. And if you're wondering how I structure the loops, after every section, I just make a 4-bar gap. So you can cut every 4 bars and then arrange it the same way. Let's just create a pattern for drums. We'll make it 8 bars long. And then we'll just copy that out so this whole thing can loop. We'll also send this loop to a mixer. And we'll name it Melody. Then I've got the sub bass sent to a separate one, so we'll just call that sub bass. Before we start adding drums, I want you to go to the master channel and add a Fruity soft clipper. It's a stock plugin, so everyone should have it, and I don't want you to overthink mixing right now. Most of the time when I'm making beats, I just have a soft clipper on the master. I don't do anything crazy, and I'll break it down for you soon. Because the main first point that I want to go through is sound selection. So I'm going to go to my Trap Lords.
Sorry, he taught us that too way back in the years, but I never understood why. I only noticed that maybe I would even do that later in the beat making after making the beat. And then I'm listening. Immediately I add soft clipper, then the kick stands out all of a sudden. To be honest, I don't really know what soft clipper does. I don't know.
Trap kit, which is part of my Vault bundle. Now, sound selection is all about taste, but it's all about intention and purpose. So if I'm listening to this loop, I feel like creating just a hard, dark trap beat. So in my head, I want a crunchy snare, hard-hitting 808, crispy hi-hats, and traditional trap sounds. So I'm gonna go to my snares, and I just want something that stands out. Like this beef snare. I can already hear that this is crunching through my headphones and I haven't had to do anything to it. Same with that bite snare. And this one. Now, like I said, I'm making a hard trap beat. So the sounds I'm going to be using are digital sounds. It's not going to be live drum recordings because they'd be more suited towards soul, boom bap, and beats like that. Let me just pull in a snare that probably wouldn't work. Something like this. So even though this is a digital sound, I just know by hearing it that it's not really going to fit the vibe I'm looking for. It's not crunchy enough. Like, listen, it's just way too airy for what I'm going for. So there's no set rules for sound design. It's not like you have to pick certain sounds. It's all about taste, and that's just going to come with practice. So the more beats you make, the more you're going to start to understand what sounds go with what beats. Like, just listen to this. It just sounds weak. But if we use this one,
The devil invented trap.
hear how that's just cutting through. And we haven't had to do anything to that. And it's because when I sound design these drums, I do all that processing at that stage. I'm adding compressors, EQs, just tweaking everything until it's sounding right. So there'd be no need for me to do all that again at this stage. Now, if you're new to producing, the snare for trap beats usually lands on the third beat. FL makes it visually easy to learn as well. You can see from the colors. So these first four are the first beat, these are the second, and then that's the third. If it's in a metronome on, you can hear it. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4. So every third would be the standard place for the snare. You could also add a rim or a clap, but again, that's entirely up to you. So if I was going to make like a vibey trap beat, maybe I'd want to go with a clap. And then same with a rim too. It just completely depends on the vibe I want to go for. So there's no set rules. It's up to you. People always say, but you do just have to trust your ears when it comes to that. So I like to get that standard pattern down before I do anything else. And once we've got a simple pattern, you can add a few filler notes if that's the sound you want to go for. So we could do something like this. Could also do something like this. And then we could add some snare rolls if we wanted to. And I usually like to do those towards the end of the 8-bar. So we can manually do it by playing with velocity. And then we can also use the chopper tool. So we could bring that out, control and left click to highlight, Alt and U to bring up the chopper. And then this is to play around with the intensity. So that's one option. Then we can change the grid. So we can set it to a third beat, then have something like this, change it back to line, and then maybe bring these down. Just play with the velocity. Again, no set rules. You're the producer, you have to make these decisions. But I'm just showing you some ideas. So if we go to the hi-hat folder, I really like this essential one. It's a tight, crisp, and clear sound, and it just always seems to work. Now, most trap hi-hat patterns start with a two-step. So we could just right-click and select fill each two-step. Obviously, that's very simple, very basic, and sometimes that's all the beat needs. But I'm going to show you some other techniques because I like to add rolls, and there's a few different ways we can do it. In the latest FL update, you can actually click up here and go to repeat, and then under the notes you want to roll, we can just click in here.
Wait, where did he click?
Because I like to add rolls, and there's a few different ways we can do it. In the latest FL update, you can actually click up here and go to repeat, and then
Where did he click? Where? Oh, yeah. Okay, repeat. Let's say here. Up there. Oh. Okay, it works, but control is a bit limited. Like, how do I adjust the pitch of each repetition? Oh, never mind. It's always used. Wow, that's super cool. Anyway,
Under the notes you want to roll, we can just click in here. And the higher up you add it, the more intense the roll is going to be. So this is a real fast way to just add some rolls. But I like to get a bit more precise. So I can hit F7 to go to the piano roll. And where you add rolls is completely up to you. But some common places to add them are the fourth note here. So I can just drag that out, press Alt and U. And this is going to bring up the chopper. If I bring this up, there'll be less notes. If I bring it down, there'll be more. So I'm feeling that. And then we could just play around with some more. Sometimes it sounds sick going into a snare as well. So if we know a snare's landing here, we could roll the hats into it. We could even change the bounds too. So if we click on that magnet, go to a third beat, for example. So you can see now the grid's changed. So we could do something like this. Just to switch up the bounce. We could also hold Control, left click, and then highlight the rolls. And then we can right click to bring the velocity up evenly. Or we can left click to do it manually. Don't be afraid to add silence too. Sometimes we might just want to add a little pause like this.
You sent in a proposal, but your manager has so many questions. Uh-oh. Let's try again.
Let's just finish this pattern. Then sometimes I like to add a couple fast ones together. So let's take this. We'll hold Shift and left click to copy it. So I like the way that sounds. And then maybe we could add that triplet at the end. So I usually add 4 bars. I delete the rest. We'll right click up here and then press Control and B. And this is just going to copy the...
I think that's where I learned that it's not a bad habit, it's just some kind of simplicity production. Then if you want to like make any edits to either side, you would be creating variation. It's just genius.
the pattern. Then I just like to make a change in the second half so it's not as repetitive. And then to make it even more interesting, what we're going to do is slide some of these hi-hat notes. So we've got this triplet at the end. I'm just going to bring the length out, Control left click to highlight, Shift and left click to copy, and then Control and down. We'll bring it down a couple octaves. And then we can make this one a slide note. So what this is doing is sliding this hat note down to this one. But because it's so high pitched, it's going to sound like a zap perk or something. Let's bring it down another one. And then we can actually change the length of the slide to change how the slide is going to sound. So you'll see what I mean. So I'm feeling it there. We don't...
Oh, I'm so used to bringing them down individually, like to where I went. Bro, this is a master at work.
always have to keep it on the same note as well. We can't play around with the pitch. For example,
You see a full masterclass. I'm gonna leave a link. Full master. I think I've added a few too many links. I'll just delete some, I guess. Just give me the live chat. Where can I find the live chat? Just give me the live chat. Bro. Just go, man. Don't even know what I'm doing. Just no. Dog food. see if I've got. Oh, there you are. Wait, come here. Chill. Now that I know this, don't need you anymore.
We could bring these two down. Even these. Actually, I'm going to get rid of that roll. We'll do something similar with these two. We'll just bring them down. Now let's move on to the 808s. So sound selection is key here. One mistake that I see a lot of producers making is just picking the wrong 808 sounds, and then they'll try all these different mixing techniques to get the 808 hitting hard, when you could just pick a good 808 to start with. And 9 times out of 10,
BTS charged.
trap beats are going to be using either the Spins 808 or the Zay. And I get why some producers are against using them, because so many producers are using the same sounds. But at the same time, if they work, they work. I like using the Spins a lot, man. I just know it's a trusty sound to use, and they're overused for a reason. Now, whenever I bring in an 808, I usually right click and select cut itself, and that means that the notes aren't going to overlap. You could play with the out dial here to make it a bit shorter, but again, it depends on the vibe you're going for. And then usually I jump to pre-computed effects, and then we'll just boost it, even by like 4%. For the 808 notes, you usually want to follow the chord progression of the melody. So if you're making the melody from scratch, it's easy to see what the root note is. But if you're using loops like this one, for example, this is when having a trained ear comes in handy, and that only comes with practice. But there's a few things we can do. Now you can see with me labeling the loop C# minor, there's a good chance that the 808 note is going to be C# minor for the most part. But that's not always the case. Just because it's in that key doesn't mean it's going to be that 808. So I'll show you what I mean. If you go to View, Scale Highlighting, go to Minor Natural, and then C#, just so you can see the notes. If someone's building a melody in C# minor, they might start with a different note, like G#, and then build a chord like this. And then they might come to C#. So the first note would be G# and then C#. So that's why you don't just want to look at the label and then instantly jump to that note, assuming it's going to be right. But it's a good starting point. The best thing to do is use your ears. So when you're listening to a loop, there's usually a note that you can hum in your head that's going to repeat.
I was having a conversation with one of my old students, and he told me that all he needs to survive in Nigeria is just $300 in a month.
I'll show you what I mean. See how that just kind of stays consistent? And then we want to find that. So it is C#. So now we need to figure out this note. So it sounds like it's going lower. So from C#, let's bring it down. Could be that. So yeah, if you're new, using a piano can just be an easier way to actually hear the notes that you're adding. Or if you want to stick to an 808, just pitch it up a couple octaves. It's just going to be way easier to hear the actual note. And let's say we don't have the actual key labeled and you don't know how to figure it out with your ears. We've got that melody routed to a mixer, so we're going to open a plugin. I've opened Key Detected by Waves. Now we're just going to play it. And it's going to give us the key. So this is saying D flat minor, which is the same as C#. You could also take one of the low notes from the stems. For example, I'm using this piano as the bass. Make sure it's soloed. We'll press Shift and E to bring up Edison. Make sure that's set to record. And we're just going to record the note in. Make sure we get the second one too. So they're the only bass notes we're actually using in the loop. Then we'll click this and select Detect Pitch Regions. Now you can see I was right. So C#, then it goes down to B. Most of the time you want a note on the 1. So this is at the beginning of the first bar.
I don't know if you understood what you did at this section.
We'll take one of the low notes from the stems. For example, I'm using this piano as the bass. Make sure it's soloed. We'll press Shift and E to bring up Edison. Make sure that's set to record. And we're just going to record the note in. Make sure we get the second one too. So they're the only bass notes we're actually using in the loop. Then we'll click this and select Detect Pitch Regions. Now you can see I was right. So C sharp, then it goes down to B. Most of the time you want a note on the 1. So this is at the beginning of the first bar. And once again, common theme here, but it's just really up to you. This is about your taste and what sounds right to you. So when I'm adding notes, I just listen to the loop and see what bounce sounds right in my head. But there are some common bounces that you might have heard, such as this. Then let's bring that down to C sharp 5. As you can hear, it's sounding a bit distorted, so I'm going to go to the melody. We'll add an EQ. I just want to cut out more of
I thought the distortion was 5.
the lows. So it's going to be somewhere around 100 hertz. But then sometimes you get a lot of mud in the low mids too. You'll hear if I bring this up, there's like a big buildup of frequencies which can clash with the 808. So it's not always about cutting out the bass frequencies. So let's duck this a bit. And maybe we could just turn down the 808 a little bit too. So it's just about finding that sweet spot. The louder you have your 808, the more distortion you might get. But you might like that distortion. Let me show you some more patterns. So similar pattern, but we'll delay the third one. Could add 2 at the beginning, do something like this. But I want to add 2 different 808 sounds, so I'm going to leave a gap in this section. I'll add a different sound and then continue it with the first one. And with the second sound, I think my notes will go there, but I'll add this in as a placeholder until I swap it. Remember, we've got that B note at the end, so we could add it there. Maybe we could add one there as well. So don't be scared to layer 808s with snares. Some producers can be picky like that, but if it sounds good, it sounds good. There's no rules, man. And also, you don't have to stick to that one note. Obviously, if the chords are changing, then you'll follow that progression. And when each chord hits, you'll usually have the first note matching the root note. But then the ones in between, they're the ones you can usually play around with. So common things that can sound good is pitching it up 7, because usually most chords will look something like this. You'll skip a note in the scale, then skip another one. Or you might have it like that. So I tend to think about what chord they might have used in that loop. And then I'll try and figure out the other notes in that chord. So it could have been E, could have been G sharp, could have been both. Maybe we'll use it. We'll try it with this one. So I like the way that sounds. I'm not going to change it in the first half. I'm going to copy that and then we'll change it in this one. So up 7. And then to spice up this second half, I'm going to add a note here. And then we'll actually slide this up. So I've got the slide note on top. I'll turn the velocity down here. Could even bring it at the same pitch. Feeling that. Play around with octaves too. So let's bring this one up. Could try some thirds as well. So we could match the hat slides like this. Or we can make it a bit slower. Let's move this last note. Yeah, maybe that. Crazy. Another thing you could try is rolls too. Maybe with this one. Okay, so I'm liking that pattern, but now I'm going to add a second 808, and I'll show you what I was talking about. We'll go to my Deep Suite, the Hydro drum kit, and then I always just include some bonus essentials on top of the ones, the sound design. I want to grab the CTM. Now, if I go into spins and I go to the wrench tool, I can see that it's cut by 1. So I'm going to go to the CTM and set this to cut by 1 too. So that means that none of these sounds are going to overlap each other. You're never going to have 2 playing together. And that's what we want. Just in case there's a tail from one sound leading into the other, it can cause a bit of mud. So I'm going to mute these spins notes. We'll go to the CTM.
Stop taking meeting notes and let ClickUp AI Note Taker do it for you. It allows you to focus on your meetings, not your notes. It captures...
I'm so tired of giving a fuck about YouTube ads.
I'm also going to add one here, but we'll bring this velocity down. Because now when it gets to this note, this one's going to stop. Might even add one more but bring this one down a little bit. Let's hear it now. Alright, let's copy this. We'll bring this octave up. Actually, let's cut this from the spins because it's got that slide. We'll try this. But again, to keep the beat interesting, we could make the pattern twice as long and then only have this in the second half. So you'll have one part with just the spins, and then after 8 bars, the CTM will come in. It's just a subtle way to add variation. Okay, next up we have percussion. So we're going to start with an open hat. We'll just find a sound that we like. I like this one. So we'll bring that in. And again, with open hats, we can also control the length. So we can bring everything down in the envelope except for the hold. And now when we extend the note, it's only going to play for as long as we need it to. Some common things you'll hear are one playing at the beginning or one just before a snare. So like this, which always sounds fire. We can also clone it and then reverse this one. Do something like this. Or we could play around with the pitch as well. So we could have one normal, then one coming down. Try up 2. That's kind of fire. Let's play around with this too. Fill in that reverse one. We'll go back to the first one. Maybe add one before the snare. Could add a smaller one as well. So I'm liking this pattern. It's not too much. Just got the one reverse one. These normal ones. Next up, we could grab a second snare, grab something like this gunner snare. I like to add something a bit lighter for the counter snare. So where I've added those 808s, that's like a common place for a counter snare, but I don't think these two need to overlap here. But I can see that we've got some space here, so maybe we could do this. Could even move this. I might prefer that, you know. So my goal with percussion is to always add more bounce. I'm not trying to have everything overlap. I'm just trying to find space for everything. You want the sounds to kind of bounce off each other rather than all at the same time. Like you can see where I've added these sort of counter snares. They aren't overlapping with anything else too much. They're just adding some more bounce in between everything. Like in between the 808s. Same again. See what other percussion we've got. So that one could work. I like this one too. So even visually just looking for space at this point. Like in this area, I feel like we could add some sort of percussion. Even just like one note would work. Maybe that too. And then copy this over. Or we could change that to this counter snare again. So yeah, maybe I prefer that.
Squidward footsteps.
Maybe we don't even need that last perk. Sometimes those bits of percussion I need. So yeah, maybe I prefer that. And maybe we don't even need that last. So yeah, maybe I prefer that. And maybe we don't even need that last perk. Sometimes those bits of percussion aren't needed, especially if you've got these counter snares. Let's try the shake perk instead. Because I'm hearing this bounce here, but I want to bring the velocity down. Try more fitting shaker though. And again, just playing with velocity. I like that. Alright, listening to this beat, it sounded full. I don't need to add anything else right now. So what I'm going to do is just rename everything. I like to keep my projects organized for when I export them. Now I'm just going to highlight everything that isn't linked, press Ctrl and L, and it's linked them with the names now. And to get a quick good mix, it's usually just about leveling and panning. So I'll show you. Usually my melodies sitting somewhere around -6. That snare needs to come up. Snare's going to be sitting around -3. Hi-hat a bit below that. 808 is usually the loudest thing, especially if you don't have a kick. And I might even add a kick to this, so just bear with me. So if you're using the 808 as a kick, you might be able to get away with bringing it up a bit more. But yeah, I am actually going to add a kick, so I'll show you. This second 808, it's got a lot of high frequencies, so it's standing out a lot more, so it doesn't need to be as loud in terms of dB readings anyway.
It's raining.
It's fine there. You can see with the open hats, they're already panned quite a bit to the right. So I'm going to bring this one to the left to balance it out. we've got 2 perks, so I can pan one to the right, one to the left. That's really all you need for the mix. Let's get that kick in. One kick that tends to sound good with an 808 is the rat kick, so I'm using that one. Now I'm just going to use this boost knob until I get the sound that we want. If we boosted it up too much, it's just going to sound horrible. But we can find that sweet spot. Even there, smacking through, but not too much. Now the goal with the kick is to add emphasis to the 808 in this case. So what we could do is just press Control and C on the 808 and then Control and V on the kick, F7 for piano roll, and then we can hit Alt and K. If it's looking something like this, just drag this until everything's on the C note. And now we don't want to keep all of these notes in, and that's boosted a bit too much, so let's bring it down. We'll see what notes we can keep. I'm going to keep those. Even just those, you know. We'll copy this. We'll link the kick to a mixer, and you'll see this is clipping high in the red, but because we've got the soft clipper on.
Hey, are your cold emails landing in spam instead of inbox? Is your current SMTP server?
It won't be clipping on the master. So now the kick's smacking through, everything's hitting hard, and I'm happy with the way it sounds. So now we could just do a quick arrangement. Because you might think it sounds a bit busy, but when I arrange beats, I don't have everything playing together all at the same time. All I did there was click on the pattern and then go to split by channel. Now the way I arranged this loop was by having the hook first. So I'm just going to bring this out. We'll have an 8-bar intro. We'll just bring the melody back. Maybe these two as well. Remember, we've got that sub bass as well. So we can have that there. So this will be the intro. We'll just label it. This will be the hook. This will.
For those who don't know, when after he moved all of this to this side, you just saw him like dragging with his mouse. No, he was holding the shift key whilst dragging. When you hold the shift key, use your left mouse to click and drag. It makes a copy. You could hold your control key, select multiple, what are these called again? Playlists, whatever, and then drag them, arrangements, playlist, and drag them over, like multiple, and then hold your shift again and then drag them over. Try it out.
Be the verse, and then we'll want one more section for a bridge. But in the hook, we won't bring the kick in straight away. We'll save the open hats and maybe even the snare and the shaker. In the verse, we'll cut everything here. And then one thing I forgot to mention was at the end of your 808 pattern, what you usually want to have is an extra note, but with the velocity all the way down. And that way, when you cut the pattern, you won't have the tail of the 808 carry over. You're going to hear it stop. So with the verse, we'll do something similar. We'll cut all of the percussion and the kick until the second half, and then we'll just bring this intro back in. Last thing you might want to add is some sort of transition. So let's grab this. So yeah, let's have a listen from the beginning. Sounding crazy. So quick cut of the drums, but just keeping the energy. This beat turned out mad, you know. Coming up to the bridge. So if you're feeling this one, you learned everything you needed to know about trap drums, then make sure you like the video. And if you want to download this loop kit for free, the link's in the description.
I think that's enough. That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. Blah 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 blah. That's okay. I want to do the sleep first. 10. And come back and try and make a beat again. In the meantime, y'all better go subscribe and learn some gems, yo. That's make Central C type. Like, nigga be making like. Oh yeah, this was the soca inspired beat I was talking about, right? Yeah. I think it was this. Or, I don't know, man. Alright. I'll be safe. It was fun.